All rise who are able. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Father love.
Father love.
Truth.
Peace.
Peace. Freedom. And justice. Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide. And my salvation. My night. And my day. Through his holy prophet. Through Ali. Amen. Please remain standing for the more song. First I give praise to Allah. The great God of the universe. I give honor to Prophet Noble Drew Ali. The last prophet in these days. I give honor to all true and divine prophets. Jesus. Muhammad. Buddha. Confucius, etc. I give honor to Marcus Garvey. Forerunner Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I give honor to our American flag. The flag of our birth. And to the Moorish flag. Our decent flag. The red flag. The 5-pointed green star in the center. Representing love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I give honor to our divine charter. Which gives us the divine and legal right. To practice and promote our religion. Unmolested. I give honor to all past supreme grand advisors and moderators. Of the Moorish Scientific of America. Incorporated. Brother C. Kirkman Bay. Brother F. Nelson Bay. And Brother J. Blakely Bay. I give honor to our past Grand Sheik and moderators. Brother R. Loville. I give honor to our present Grand Sheik and moderator. Brother Moore Scientific of America Incorporated. Brother R. Jones Bay. I give honor to the Assistant Grand Sheik of the Moore Scientific of America. Brother P. Chase Hill. Who's also the Grand Sheik at Temple 71. I give honor to all national, state, and local officials. Giving honor to Brother H. Harris Bay. Grand Governor of the District of Columbia. And to his assistant. Brother T. Gatefield. I give honor to all national, state, and local officials in their office and station. I give honor to all members of the Moore Scientific of America. All auxiliaries. And everything that the prophet brought. And taught. For the uplifting and fallen man. I give honor to our Sunday school. I give honor to all of those present. In our view. And out of our view. Peace. I'll now read Salvation, Our God, Unity. The Moorish Scientific of America, the Divine Constitution and Bylaws. Act 1. The Grand Sheik and the Chairman of the Moorish Scientific of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Scientific of America. The Assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Scientific of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly, according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh, and ascended unto his Father God Allah. With that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and partial of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 5. This organization, Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being in Moorish America, you are a part and partial of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and a partial of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali the prophet to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a partial of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure of love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet Noble Drew Ali through the guidance of his father, God Allah. Noble Drew Ali family, Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. The Moorish Science Temple of America, home office, 2905 5th Street Southeast, Washington, D.C., 20032. Thus, we've had a reading from all 7 acts of the Divine Constitution and Bylaws. I'll now read from questionnaire and additional laws for the Moorish Americans by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Act 1. Grand chiefs and governors and heads of all temples, all businesses. Each said temple must be approved by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali before acted upon by any members. Let it be finance, property, or any form of life form. Act 1. Grand chiefs and governors and heads of all temples, all businesses. Each said temple must be approved by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali before acting upon by any members. Let it be finance, property, or any line of life that will cause the members to sacrifice finance, etc., that will cause the support of any group of members. Any former officer that violates these laws is subject to be removed from his office under heavy restriction, etc., by the prophet or the grand chief. Act 2. All members are to attend their ad meetings and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around on their meeting period, shall be fined 50 cents on the first case, and on the second, he will be fined $1, which will go on your emergency fund. If member is working, his monthly dues must be paid. And if he has money in the bank, he must subscribe for as much as he is able to the Moorish Uplifting Fund, because it takes finance to uplift the nation. Act 3. It is lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he is able in finance, to aid me in saving the nation. And if he does not, he is an enemy to the cause of uplifting his own people, and justice must catch him. Let it be he or she, according to love, true peace, freedom, and justice, as I have the power invested in my hands, and I will have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. Act 4. All members, while making a public speech, must not use any assertion against the American flag, or speak radical against the church or any member of any organized group, because we are to teach love, true peace, freedom, and justice. Act 5. All members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must confirm himself to the questionnaire, and let every member exercise his 5 senses who is able to do so, because out from your Sunday school comes the guidance of the nation. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali the prophet to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a partial of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure of love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his father, God Allah. Peace. Thus we had a reading from all 7 acts of the questionnaire and additional laws. And now read from the Holy Koran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Drew Ali, by the guiding of his father, God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from the fallen and sinful ways and bring him back to the high plane of life of his father, God Allah. I'll read from the divine instructions from the Holy Prophet. This would be from page 7, chapter 3. Elihu's lesson, the unity of life. And I'll read this. No man lives unto himself, for every living thing is bound by cord to every other living thing. Peace. Peace. Islam, boy. Like to welcome. Our Sunday school is officially open. I'd like to welcome you all out to our Sunday school. Now, when you are called on or when you're speaking, please remember to speak up. So those who are viewing us locally, nationally, and internationally can hear us. So at this time, I'll call for Grand Street moderator of the Moore-Sachs Temple of America Incorporated, our brother, man, and friend, Brother R. Jones Bay, to lead us in our Sunday school.
Islam.
Islam. Love.
Let us give praise to Allah, the great God of the universe, honor to his holy divine prophet. Let's go with safe prayer. Allah, Father of the universe, the Father of
Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Love is my protector, my God, and my salvation. Thy name and thy day. Through the Holy Prophet, through our God. Amen.
Praise Allah. Let me ask you something. Why do you think that we pray? Well, consider the tongue, that's good. Why else do you think we pray?
For protection.
That's good, for protection. That's always good. But yeah. Come on.
It reminds you.
It reminds you what?
Reminds you who you praying for and what you praying for.
Okay, that's good. That's a good answer. What else? Why do you think we pray? I mean, along with what has been said, because you're correct. But why else? Have you ever given any thought to why do you think we pray?
Acknowledgement.
Acknowledgement. Okay. Acknowledgement to what?
That Allah, we're about to ask for something or remind ourselves of something or thank him for something, whatever the case may be.
Okay, whatever the case might be. Okay, come on, come on.
Islam, I think it's essential.
Essential. Why do you think
Given the
it's essential?
spirituality, the religion and spirituality is at hand. I think it's essential.
That's essential. Okay, all right, okay. Sister Green,
It's on to keep the lines of communication open.
to
with
keep the
Allah.
line of communication open. That's good. That's good. With who?
Allah.
With Allah. That's right. Brother Thompson.
Just keep us in, try to stay in good standing with our Father and be obedient and submit our will.
Try to be in good standing with our Father and be obedient and submissive to
Be reminded.
Okay, okay. I mean, you see, because it's very important that you know what you're praying for. I mean, what difference does it make? Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and you don't know why you even do it. You can come in here and that can become a habit. You can come in here and you can develop a habit of praying and don't even know why. And don't even know the reason or the significance of it. It's the significance in praying. But you have to examine it. What is significant to you? What am I really trying to do? Am I just going, remember I was telling you how people sometimes say, praise Allah, and it's not behind it. Well, you can pray, that can be a prayer too. You can pray and there be nothing behind it. You just be used to doing it. Prayer is a very significant part of man's spiritual growth and development. Without prayer, it is difficult for man to grow. You know why? Without prayer, where do you receive your guidance?
So,
Without prayer, how do you acknowledge that there is something greater than you? So one must start to think about, why am I doing this? Because then, think about this. What about this? You are praying to an entity that's almighty. But suppose, just suppose, it doesn't matter to you how you behave in front of him. Suppose it doesn't matter to you how you perform your duties before the face of God. You're praying to a God that you're acknowledging as being more than, we can always explain, yet does that matter enough for you to adjust your behavior? Does it? Does it matter to you that I'm standing before God and I pray to Him and yet I'm acting a certain way? When you act like that, when you act out of yourself, does it matter? That's the question. Does it really matter? Does it matter what I do in front of the face of God that I've just prayed to? Does it really matter what I do? Does it matter what I say? Does it matter how I treat people? Does it matter that I'm not conscious? Well, these things need to matter. Because if they don't matter, I mean, what's the purpose? So again, now here's the question. What's your purpose? Come on. Guidance. Your purpose is guidance. That's good. Why do you think you need guidance?
I'm lost.
You're lost. We are lost. That's right, Mom. We pray for guidance. That's good, Mom. Pardon me for prayer. Sister Britta.
I pray, you know what, to strengthen my faith, because I really tune into each word in that prayer.
That's good.
Sometimes I catch myself going too fast and I gotta stop and start over.
Yeah.
Because each word really means something, and I need to build or strengthen my faith because I have some insecurities in certain things.
Yeah, that's right.
So I need to be reminded,
Yeah.
you know, what Allah is capable of doing for me, and that I can trust in Him
Yeah.
and rely on Him just a little more.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
I would like to reframe the word lost. I would say we lost and misunderstood.
Okay, well, however you say it, we're still lost.
I mean, we're not lost, but we're
We are lost. We are lost.
misunderstood.
And misunderstood and lost. If we weren't lost, we'd be home. We're not home, so we're lost. And don't nobody know how to get there. Somebody has to come here and show us the way that them been the way, because we ain't been that way yet. So we're lost.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Come on, Brother Morris, back. I pray for sincerity. Yeah, sincerity. That's key. That's good. Sincerity. Why sincerity? Why do you think you need to be sincere?
Because I think they need to be sincere.
Yeah.
I think for me, sincerity is the basics for me.
Yeah.
I have to be sincere. It's not just spend my will, wasting my time.
That's right, Mom. That's right. Spinning your wheel, wasting your time. So therefore, sincerity must be a main ingredient when you pray. You must be sincere. Come on, Mom.
Pray, Lord, not a problem. I'm going to pray for strength.
Strength.
Yes, sir. Because I know I found myself being weak, you know, in different situations
Okay.
and stuff of that nature.
Okay. Pray for strength. Yeah, come on, Sister Delia.
It's on pray for both patience and understanding.
Patience and understanding. Yeah. Why patience?
Because I had to be patient enough to know things don't come when I want it to come.
That's good.
And my understanding of those things come when it's supposed to come.
Okay. Your understanding is knowing that they will come.
Come when it's supposed to.
That's right. That's right. Don't you know how people, what contributes to weakness when you pray? When you don't receive what you're praying for.
Mm-hmm.
Then what starts to set in?
Doubt.
Doubt. Is this really real? When you don't receive what you're praying for right away, you have a tendency to drip into doubt. Once you go into the areas of doubt, what happens?
Fail to recognize when it does come.
Oh yeah, you do fail to recognize when it does come, but what else happens?
Stop praying.
You stop praying. you're doing something. If you're not praying, you're now taking on the position of trying to do things yourself.
And you allow your Lord self to exercise.
That's right, because your Lord self is going to prompt you and say, you can get it like this. You go do this.
You go from praying to praying.
That's right. That's right.
Sorry, I'll
No, that's cool. That's right. That's right. Come on, Mark. Something.
Sometimes we pray for things in the way we want our God to give it to us.
Yeah.
But He finds another way.
Yeah.
You don't have patience.
Right.
He give us another way to go.
Right.
Thomas said, I give my elbow to get to my thumb.
Yes.
So He just don't give it to you straight as you want it.
Right. Right.
But you might have to labor for it.
Right. 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 Right.
Agrees.
Yeah. Right. 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 Come on, Mark.
Praise the Lord, not a problem. The more it's safe to say, I think that prayer give you a pattern. You know, give you every man needs a pattern. Every man hates to lead. Every man likes to follow. So I would think prayer is giving me a good pattern. You know what I mean? Just keep me in a good state of mind, good frame of mind.
Yeah.
Of thinking about a lot of good things, you know, instead of bad things. I think if I didn't pray,
Yeah.
I think I would be more out there in the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I pray, I started to come to all my meetings, you know, trying to develop a good pattern.
I hear you.
You know, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
I hear you. I hear you, Mark. It's not my sister.
Islam. I just say I pray for humility, and sometimes when I have those wrong thoughts, I pray to bring me back to the good thought.
Yeah.
So I'm not thinking wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Bring me back.
Yeah.
That's no question. Don't you know? You can't take for granted you can come back.
Islam.
You need help to come back.
That's right.
That's right.
We can get out there, and we need some help.
That's right. That's right.
Come on, Brother Crawford.
It's not. I just want to add to everything that's said, which is good. Gratitude.
Gratitude.
I'm grateful for where I'm at in life.
Okay.
Where Allah got me at in life. But I know it's room for improvement and elevation, but it could be worse.
Could be worse.
From where I come from, I'm looking at where I come from,
Yeah.
and where I'm at today, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. Yeah. You are content with the good that is within your reach.
Yes, sir.
That's what the book says. That's good. That's good. Come on, sis.
I want to add in also, I want to be grateful for the thoughts that I hold now than what I held before.
That's it. That is it. That is what is called heavy. I mean, to be grateful for that you don't hold the thoughts that you held in the past.
Exactly.
Yes.
My thinking has improved.
Praise the Lord.
Yes.
Don't mean you're perfect.
That's right.
You're just getting better.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, now you know that your prayer works. You must see a result in praying. You must see a benefit in praying. If you don't, you will cease to pray, and then you will cease to rely on He who gave you life. I got to see something working for me. It's just like being in the Morris Science Center of America. Something has to work for me in here for me to stay. Other than that, you just go through the motions, and you don't benefit from going through the motions. Something you must find that something in here benefits you, not for your selfish self, but because I'm trying to be a better person. Because there's things about me I need to address. Come on, Brother Morris, baby.
Just want to touch back on praying.
Yes.
And I believe that prayer without faith and works is empty.
It's empty. That's right.
Because oftentimes we'll pray for things that we want,
Yes.
don't get it.
Yeah.
Allah gives us everything we need.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. That's right.
My brother.
Since I'm coming, when you talk about rhythm a lot.
Look,
You talk about rhythm,
Uh-huh.
everybody on the same chord.
Yeah.
And I'm the doubt piece.
Yeah.
The other day, I do delivery text from my old job,
Uh-huh.
the same day asked me to come back.
Uh-huh.
But like you said, the doubt had started kicking in.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It kind of made me discouraged. So that's why I'm kind of right now.
Yeah.
But the real, you know, that's why I come here, man, because whatever you're going through, man, I can't explain it, but whatever you're going through, you'll soon get your answer. And you just gave me the answer.
Did it?
Yes, you did. To what I'm going through, you know what I mean? Because I'm identifying and relevant with you. But, you know, going to Sunday school.
That's
you know,
right, that's right, that's right.
Help me out with it. That's why I thank Allah for
That's right. That's right.
Prophet Muhammad, Noble Ali bringing us the lesson. Wake us up from the
I need
death.
that, Mo.
But
That's
we did,
right.
like you said, we lost. We've been dead for so long, man. Prophet, nobody, he done brought us the message to wake us up and come up out of this
That's
death.
right,
You
Mo.
know what I
That's
mean?
right.
And man, I just can't explain. I just love coming here, man.
That's right, Mo.
Praise
That's right. Praise Allah.
Allah reward you. All your love.
Right.
That's good. Okay, who made you? Who is Allah? Can we see it? Where's the nearest place we can meet it? Who is Noble Juala? What is the prophet? What is the duty of a prophet? Who is the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America? What year was the Moorish Science Temple of America founded? Where? Where was Noble Juala found? Where was Noble Juala born? What is his nationality? What is your nationality? Why are we Moorish Americans? For what purpose was the Moorish Science Temple of America founded? How did the prophet begin to uplift the Moorish Americans? What is our religion? Islam. Is that a new or is that the old time religion? Old time religion. What kind of a flag is the Moorish? It is a red flag with 5 points, 3 stars. What do the 5 points represent? Love, truth, peace, freedom, justice. How old is our flag? It is over 10,000 years old. Which is our holy day? Friday. Why? Because Friday is the day on which man was born in the earth. Who was Jesus? He was a prophet. Where was he born? In Bethlehem, Judea. Who were his father and mother? Joseph and Mary. Will you give a brief, the line genealogy through which Jesus came? Some of the great fathers through which Jesus came, Paul, Abraham, Jesse, King David, Solomon, Hezekiah, and Joseph. Why did Allah send Jesus to this earth? How long has that been? 2,000 years. What was the nationality of Ruth? What is the modern name for Moabite? Where's the Moroccan Empire? What is the modern name for Mexico? What is the title given to our ruler in Morocco? Where did we get the name Jesus? What does the name Jesus mean? Did the angel give to the child that was called Jesus a holy name? Yes. What is an angel? What are angels used for? What is our prophet to us? What is the everlasting gospel? What is the covenant of the great God Allah? At what age did Jesus begin to teach? Where did he teach? How long did he teach? What did Jesus say he would make you? What is true? What is all? And truth change. What other name do we give to truth? What have you to say about Holy Grail? At what place on earth was the physical part of man formed? Where is the Garden of Eden? What is the modern name for the Garden of Eden? What is the name of the first physical man? What are the words of AC, of B, MST, or A? Who were Adam and Eve? Where did they go? What is the modern name given to their children? Who is guarding the holy city of Mecca today to keep the unbelievers away? What is the modern name for those angels? What's to save their skin? Are Moorish Americans in relation to those angels? Here 5 names that are given to the descendants of Adam and Eve. What is the devil sometimes called? How many cells are
Two,
Name them.
higher self and lower self.
What people represent the higher self?
The angels that belong to the sixth heaven.
What people represent the lower self?
Those who cast out the whole city and those who set the sea.
What is the higher self?
The higher self is more than virtue, beyond like life and peace, justice, mercy, love, and right.
The higher self passed away. Why?
Because of God,
What does the lower self breathe?
hate, slander, lewdness, murder, death, and everything that harms.
What did the higher self say to the lower self at one time when you met him?
Where are you going to say?
What was the answer that the lower self gave to the higher self?
I'm going to you for the receive from you, God.
As he finished his task of revival.
Yes.
When was his time declared out?
We never Jesus on the cross.
What are the last words Jesus uttered?
It is finished.
What he had reference to?
He had reference to the end state.
Did Jesus say that he would return to conquer him?
Yes.
What is the name of the person into whom Jesus was first reincarnated?
Prophet Muhammad.
Was Satan to be bound in?
Satan was the ground for
When was the head of Satan taken off?
1453 Byzantine.
By whom?
Muhammad.
Name some of the marks that were put upon the Moors of Northwest by the European nations in 1774.
Negro, black, colored, and Negro.
Negro.
Name given to a river of West Africa.
What is meant by the word black?
Black, according to science, means that.
What does the word colored mean?
Colored means anything that became standing on.
What does Ethiopia mean?
Ethiopian is not that right.
Can a man be a Negro, black, colored, or Ethiopian?
No.
Why?
Because man is made in the image and after the likeness of God and God.
What title does Satan give himself?
God.
You define the word white.
White means purity, purity means God, and God means the world and man.
To whom we refer to a time as being the great God.
Allah.
Is the devil made in the image and likeness of Allah?
No, we just shadow our Lord self, we will pass away.
Who made the devil?
Amen.
Who was Elohim?
The man is the son of great spirit, created everything that was, and is, and ever will be.
What is Elohim sometimes called?
The 7 eyes of Allah.
How many days are in the circle?
7 days.
How many days are in the creation?
7 days.
According to science, how many days in a year?
7 days.
That's good. What did you realize? What did you see? What did you sense when we just went through that? What did you sense when we just went through that? Rhythm. Rhythm. And no one broke the rhythm. So that means what?
God is harmony.
We're harmony. That's There is a harmony present. The question is, can you maintain your place in it? That's the key. We are in harmony when we what? When we are what? We're in harmony.
Still.
Still.
And sing together.
Yeah.
And sing together.
What else? What else? We are what else? What else promoted that harmonious rendition of the 101 questions from the questionnaire? Thought did it. That's right. What else? What else contributed?
Condition.
Our condition.
Thank
The condition did make a contribution.
Our faults.
Sincerity.
Yes, sincerity. Well, it's the very thing that you all have been talking about prayer. Yeah. Come on, Mo.
Being humble enough to follow the leader and have the cake.
That's right. That's good. That's good. Hey. That's good. Yeah. See, I'm trying to point certain things out to you so you don't take certain things for granted. And this, what we learn in here, and just like we learn about the harmonious, when we are in harmony, understand this. It works for you in the street. You just have to learn how to apply it. But you know, if you're going to use it in the street, you must be what?
What you know.
Yeah, you got to be what you know. But what else? If you're going to try to use this in the street, what must you be?
Sincere.
Sincere. You can't be faking. You can't be faking. You can't get caught up in yourself trying to make people believe something that you're not. If you want it to work. So if you want to make this your way of life in the street, you must be sincere. Because while you're in the street, you need what? Expressing that. What you need?
Guidance.
Guidance.
patience,
Yes. Yes.
Humility,
Yes.
humble.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mom.
That's all right. It's always good to have good humor. There's nothing wrong with good humor,
Mom.
as long as it's properly placed.
Yes, sir.
So yeah. So what we're learning in here is how to learn. We're learning how to live in the street, not just when you come to the temple.
That's right.
I want to make this work for me in the street.
Right.
It's easy to come when I come in here, act like. Don't have to be, but I can act like it. But in the street,
yes, sir.
see if I can do it now. Come on,
I
man.
think also more being that we talk about in the streets
Yes.
and the things that we're learning here
Yes.
allows us to be what we know
Yes.
and not what we think that we know, but
Yeah.
we know.
Yeah.
And that goes a long way with us.
Yeah. 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 I saw Prophet in the deli.
I was just gonna say protection. Did anybody mention protection?
No.
Yeah, that's definitely protection. I need that out
Yeah. 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 Yeah, more.
Yeah, my concern is really not the streets. My concern is myself.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, I have to see changes in me more. I ain't
Yeah.
stunting what's out there. It's not.
Yeah. Okay. Come on, Sister Delia.
It's fine. I was going to say, that's why it's so important about what you always teach us about practicing.
Yeah.
You know, what we receive in here, we got to practice it on a daily basis, 24/7, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Because you can't carry it on the streets if you're not practicing it.
Yeah.
If it's not a part and parcel of you,
That's
and
right.
your thoughts, your acts, and your deeds.
That's right. Look, what you're doing out there is practicing your religion.
That's right.
That's your way of life.
That's right. That's right, Mom.
There's a certain way of life we practice in the street
Yes,
that we focus on and we try to develop in here.
yes.
Come on, brother.
Islam, you know, it reminds me of when I was doing physical therapy. I didn't get better until I started doing physical therapy outside of physical therapy, my actual appointments.
Yes.
You know, so I can see this is like a spiritual therapy in
Yeah.
the sense that where, you know, when I need to do it in between
Yes.
the days that get appointed to come
Yeah.
in so that I can actually get better. And so when I come, it's a recharge.
Yes, 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 yes. Here, you learn how to implement the practice of Islamism.
That's right.
When you go out there, now you start to manifest that practice. So once you begin to manifest the practice of Islamism, you start to live your life according to the principles. Because Islamism is founded on principles. And those are the principles that you must learn to establish into who? Yourself.
Yourself, that's right.
So when I do go into the world of manifestation, I have a rule of what? Conduct. Because I don't want to step into an area where I'm unfamiliar with and don't know how to handle a situation when it occurs. See, if I've been practicing I see that from over there and I don't even have to go that way.
That's right.
See, this practice of your religion gives you what is called inner vision. You see it, and you don't have to be right up on it for you to be exposed to it. Because I'm living my life in such a way that I can see the truth from the falsehood. Come on.
See, more, I heard what Koran said about protection.
Yeah.
But see, if we're practicing what is right,
Right.
the prophet already teaches us, you understand, that he is our protector by
Right.
night and by day.
Right.
So we are already protected.
Right. But I can understand what Brother Prophet Hill was saying.
Yes, sir.
Because he identified that's what he needs.
Yeah.
You know. So I'm in total accord with that. Come on, Ma.
Islam, through my practice,
Yes.
the prayer comes effective to me.
Yes.
The prayer is like activated through my
Yes.
practice.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is the
protection, the guide, and the salvation,
Yes.
I can see it
Yeah.
the more I practice.
Yeah.
Because
That's right.
the prayer and my practice in my daily walk in Islamism, it attracts people and it keeps people out of my circle.
That's right.
So my protection comes through me practicing constantly.
That's
So
right.
those that mean to do me harm, they won't even come to my circle
That's right.
because they don't even want to be around me.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And those that are seeking are attracted to that.
That's right.
So I get to see the salvation. I get to see
That's
the
right.
protection.
That's
I
right.
get to see the guidance.
That's right.
You know what I mean? The more I practice.
That's right.
See?
That's right. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. See, what we learn. See, in here, the prophet affords you the opportunity to talk about what's inside you. See, before we were released from being able to talk about what's inside us, we would be a little hesitant to say certain things because we didn't know how they would be received. We didn't know if people would agree with us. And for real, now before we came in here and learned certain things, we wanted to be accepted. So in here you come and you are free to identify certain things about yourself that helps you to deal with other people. It helps you to deal with, it's okay for me to be, it's so, look how long it took us before we even walk up to one another and say, I love you. This ain't what brothers do, not from where I come from. So the prophet had to teach us about just being comfortable enough to say, I love you, bro. And mean it. He's freeing us.
That's right.
He's taking away those things that keep us in an earthly way of thinking. Always got to be, like we got to always be swollen. Teach us to be humble. It's okay. It's okay. Come on.
Change our thinking from what man thinks about us and start thinking about what Allah thinks about us.
That's right.
Right. So we have to change. So we do worry about what somebody
Ain't no
else is
question.
thinking about us, what they saying
Ain't no
about us,
question.
and how they look at us. And we have to get that out.
Yeah.
But man can't save us.
That's right.
We gotta save ourselves with Allah.
That's
So I
right.
have to worry
Save
about how
yourself.
Allah feels about us,
Save
not
yourself.
what man thinks.
That's right.
Save yourself.
That's right.
Well, it feels like, when I heard it said it, it reminds me of how I'm still struggling with the idea of me protecting myself.
Yeah, yeah, man.
It's
All
like,
Allah.
We all are, that's right.
you pray that Allah to protect you, but you still feel like you need some tools here and there to protect yourself. So.
Yeah. But you know what more? But at least right now, I think that one of the advantages that we have is that we see the difference. See, it's something else more than what we have assumed is what's required of us to do. It's something else that can be done that can also help to protect us. Come on.
It's not. See, me personally, I think once you stray off the path,
Yes.
that diminish your protection.
Yes. Yes.
How was you on the path as much as you can for able
Yes.
that strength or the protection is higher.
Yeah. Yeah. I looked at a movie one time. It's an old movie. It's called Billy Jack. And that movie was about this. Billy Jack was a member of a Native American tribe. But he had to go into himself. And so what he did, he went to the elder in the tribe, and the elder in the tribe took him to the mountains. He drew a circle and put Billy Jack in the center. And he said, whatever you do, whatever you see, stay in that circle. Because that's where your fight is. And everything outside of that circle, every appearance outside of that circle, tries to get you to come out of the circle, to walk into the chaos and the confusion. It takes a person that's developing discipline to stay within the circle.
And mind you, Jesus, when he was in the wilderness.
That's right.
And the things that came
That's
to
right.
took the
That's
tempter.
right. That's
And
right.
that's what Billy Jack was doing.
That's
Tempt
right.
that.
That's right. it was like, it's like same thing we gotta do. We gotta meet them things in us that's out there. But we gotta know that we can't leave here to go out there to meet them.
In other words, Brad, we gotta pretty much draw our own circle.
That's what he said, don't he?
Yeah.
Draw a circle around your what? Passions and what? Your desires. To keep them what?
In the bound.
Within the boundaries. To keep them within the boundaries. Right. Right. Okay. We're going to the Holy Koran, chapter 4. We're going to close this out today. Death and burial of Elizabeth, Matheno's lesson, the ministry of death. I'll begin reading. When John was 12 years old, his mother died, and neighbors laid her body in a tomb among her kindred in the Hebron burying ground, and near to Zachariah's tomb. Now, one thing I want to ask you, as I read that particular instruction, what is all of it is worth noting, but what is one thing that's really worth noting in that verse? The body. He was able to they laid what? The body. Remember, man is not the body. Man is not the body. So when the body is laid to rest, that's not the person. No need to keep on going up there crying, going through all that ritual, because they're not there. It is just a body that has housed what?
The spirit.
The spirit. Man is a what? Spirit.
What would you say that's part of their teaching?
Of course, that is their teaching. Don't you know that type of teaching? You pay $1,000 for funerals. You understand? It's a systematic. It's system, but it's their custom. We were introduced to their custom and their system, and we accepted it. Now we're returning back and finding out what we had forgotten, so that we can help to reestablish ourselves in a certain mindset that stops us from fearing something that has to take place. It has to take place. You must move on to the next plane of your journey. You have to. And it's nothing to be afraid of. But we have been taught to fear it. Well, if they taught us to fear it, then we must teach ourselves to not be afraid.
That's right.
And our whole attitude about it to change. And how we look at it to change. And we're trying to change the way we think because we understand those things that we have accepted in the past haven't done us any good. And once we find out they haven't done us any good, it's time for us to make a change.
That's right.
It's got to be better. It's got to be more than this. It's got to be more than COVID. It's got to be more than monkeypox. It's got to be more to life than that. I shouldn't have to live in fear of catching that. Because I know where that comes from. A certain way of thinking. That we've created because we accepted a certain way of thinking. When we change that certain way of thinking back to the way that our forefathers thought, you will see we don't have that stuff.
That's right.
It doesn't exist. It's the condition that's created that comes from a certain earth pattern. So you must change the way you think to change your condition. And that takes willpower. That takes effort. Now you've got to have the will because it's the will that makes possible what? The action of the Holy Breath. And the action can be a condition that comes from that is a result of the Holy Breath and your will being put together as one. Now try getting that across to our people. Yes.
It says at one point, so should the wicked tremble and be afraid?
Of course.
Because
Oh yeah. The wicked need tremble to be afraid, and they need not think that because their punishment is delayed, that the arm of Allah is weakened.
That's right.
Yeah, the wicked must tremble and be afraid. That's the wicked is the one that needs to be afraid. If we're doing wicked things or holding wicked thoughts, we need to be afraid.
That's right.
How the type of stuff we hold in our head, we examine it and we determine as to whether or not it is worthy of God-likeness. And if it's not, we better change the way we think. And you know what? I tell you this. If you're holding certain thoughts, your condition that you will be experiencing won't always be, they will be very unpleasant. And you'll find yourself asking yourself, why me? But you are creating your what? Your hell. And you're living in the hell that you created for yourself. And what does that offer you? Hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that harms. So what are you engulfed in? Hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that harms. But when you start to change the way you think, you start to see improvements in that condition. And that condition begins to change. As you change.
We can start to create some heaven.
Yes, you can, Mom. Well, you created that hell.
Right.
Why can't you create the heaven?
Right.
No. So we're talking about the body is not the person, so that's something for us to think about. And John was deeply grieved. He wept. Matheno said, it is not well to weep because of death. What role did Matheno play in this? As he played a role, what was the role that Matheno played when John's mother died? A minister. He did what? He ministered. He took a little boy, 12 years old, who just lost his mother, and ministered to him. And he said it, and then on top of that, he gave him something else to think about. Death is no enemy of man. It is a friend who, when the work of life is done, just cuts the cord that binds the human boat to earth, that it may sail on smoother seas. No language can describe your mother's words, and yours was tried and true. But she was not called hence until her tasks were done. The cause of death are always for the best, for we are solving problems there as well as here. And one is sure to find himself where he can solve his problems best. It is selfishness that makes one wish to call again to earth departed souls. Then let your mother rest in peace. Just let her noble life be strength and inspiration unto you. A crisis in your life has come, and you must have a clear conception of the work that you are called to do. The sages of the ages call you harbinger. The prophets look to you and say, he is Elijah, come again. Your mission here is that of a harbinger. For you will go before the Messiah's face to pave his way and make the people ready to receive their king. This readiness is purity of heart. None but the pure in heart can recognize the king. To teach men to be pure in heart, you must yourself be pure in heart and word and deed. In emphasis, the vow for you was made, and you become a Nazarite. The razor shall not touch your face nor head, and you shall not taste wine nor fiery drinks. Men need a pattern for their lives. They love to follow, not to lead. The man who stands upon the corners of the path and points the way, but does not go, is just a pointer. And a block of wood can do the same. The teacher treads the way. On every span of ground, he leaves his footprints clearly cut, which all can see and be assured that he, their master, went that way. Men comprehend the inner life by what they see and do. They come to Allah through ceremonies and forms, And so when they would make men know that sins are washed away by purity and life, a rite symbolic may be introduced. In water, wash the bodies of the people who will turn away from sin and strive for purity and life. This rite of cleansing is a preparation rite, and they who thus are cleansed comprise the temple of purity. And you shall say, you men of Israel, hear, reform and wash, become the sons of purity, and you shall be forgiven. This rite of cleansing and this temple are but symbolic of the soul, which does not come with outward show. Now keep this in mind. He's talking to 12-year-old. He's talking to a child 12 years old. So you can see. And what makes you think? I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, what has that child had to be exposed to receive those type of thoughts? Okay. Okay. Cool.
I was thinking, the part where the mother had instructed to set their lives on fire with holy zeal.
Okay.
Prepared for that, like you said.
Okay. Okay. Now keep in mind, there's something else. He grieved. He wept. He was very disturbed initially. Before the lesson began, he was what? Deeply grieved.
He's still in the flesh. He still feel that fleshly thing of breathing.
Okay.
So he still mixed with truth and falsehood within him.
Okay.
That was part of him coming to this earth and experiencing that.
Okay. Okay. That's a good. That is a good.
Now.
Yeah. Yeah. What about this? What about the temple that is symbolic to the soul? The rite of cleansing and this temple are but symbolic of the soul. What do you think that means? Because see, that gives you another way of looking at what?
No.
It does. It gives you another way of looking at thought. But it also gives you another way of looking at the soul. Because it's associating the temple as being symbolic to the soul. Now the question is, what is the symbolism? What is the relationship? What is the relationship between the temple and the soul? Because that's what the rite represents. It's symbolic to the cleansing of the soul. So when you think about a temple, what do you think about? What makes a temple a temple?
What it holds.
What it holds, that's okay. Or what you put in it.
Is
Okay. What makes a temple sacred?
principles.
Principles. The principles that you maintain as you are constructing your dwelling place for your worship.
And the laws that you follow.
Yeah, the laws, you must have laws. You see? Because this is where you worship. So it's the same thing as what you think they talk about. What do you think it is when that's what you put in your soul? You must give your soul guidance. You must give your soul law. You must give your soul direction. Because remember, she's rash, she's irregular. She's more flexible than wax, more yielding than air. You must give her guidance.
And she calls for respect.
No question. But remember, after all that, you got to remember this about her. Action is her delight. That means she's always moving. If you don't put her in some type of restricted Restriction. If you don't put a restriction on it, not only can you cause havoc, but then look like a sword in the hand of a madman.
True. The book say she will not be withheld from it.
That's right, brother.
It's her delight that she's going
Right.
out there.
And her means to discover it.
Reason experience.
Reason and experience, but that means you got to go through it.
Yeah.
So now, this is what we're talking about, the soul, the temple being the symbolic of the soul. There's a relationship. That is a relationship. Well, how you build your temple is how you feed your soul. You clean up your temple, you clean up your soul. So therefore, he gave you a right. The right of washing. Got to clean up. Then the prophet come right back and tell you, keep your bodies clean before Allah. Yeah.
I got a question.
Yeah.
In reference to divine instruction 13,
Yeah.
the emphasis, the vow.
Yes. Yes.
Do you think we
The
a
vow.
vow was made for us in emphasis?
I think. It's only what I think. But yeah.
Yeah.
But remember, we broke our vow. The vow was given, but we broke it.
And then I looked the word vow up and it had some interesting definitions. And one stood out to me that to make the vow required for formal entrance into a religious order or community.
Yeah. Islamism, your practice.
Yeah, we made a vow when we joined the MSTLA.
Well, we made a vow, and that's a little, see more, a vow, you can proclaim your nationality, but you may not, that may not be your vow. See, a vow, acceptance of a vow is an inner acceptance, not an outward. You can join here, but you don't have to take a vow. You can be in here and then never take a vow, even though a vow for you was made, but you must accept it.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
The vow we made our ancestors or what, that we broke with Allah.
Yeah.
The vow we forgot.
Yeah.
We failed to recall at this time, so we have to go through certain degrees of changes to recall the vow and come back to that vow and start living that vow as we made it in the beginning.
Yeah, listen. Remember the relationship. You got to remember the relationship. We forgot our vow. And just because you come in here does not mean you get it. You can be in here and still don't get it. That vow is a personal vow that you made. That's personal. No one can say as to whether or not you have taken it or you have accepted it or whatever. That's a personal. That is a personal acceptance between you and God.
And only us can recognize.
You can. That's right. But yet you know those who are on the road of accepting the vow because of their what? Actions, in their deeds, in their words. Remember, Jesus gave us the key. When men shall ask the proof of my messiahship, what will I say? And he showed us, or he instructed us, my words, acts, and deeds shall be the proof. how you live it. You ain't gotta talk it. Talking is only a small part of it. How you live it. It says, now, where am I? 23? Yeah, right. Now you may never point the way and tell the multitudes to do what you have never done. But you must go before and show them. So what is he saying to us? What must we do? You must be a pattern. You got to walk the walk. You talking about you trying to convince people, or you trying to tell people, well, you are more American. Okay. But suppose they don't see nothing different in you. Suppose you don't show nothing different. You're just a pointer. And they don't respect pointers.
Yo, shit, like,
The worst thing in the world is when you start to come into the realization of people who fake. Well, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's cool. Because, I mean, after all, you can point out, you're not judging nobody. But when their actions are in conflict with the word that they are promoting, then you know that and you say they fake it. That's how I identify fakes. By the people, by you hear, but you see. What does that have to do with that? How can you get that from that? How can that be right and you're trying to promote this? The tongue and heart-eyed variance. And it's manifested. You don't have to be, no, you don't have to, no, don't nobody have to tell me nothing. And don't come telling me nothing about anybody. I don't want to hear it. I'm not going to let you taint my way of thinking about a person based on what you think they're doing. I'll see it for myself. That's what life does.
They plant a seed when they
Sure, they plant a seed.
When they come tell you about that individual.
They plant a seed, and that seed will grow. And when you see that person, you'll react to what you heard about that person without even knowing if that person is like that. Can't get caught up in stuff like that. Come on, Mom.
It's called slander.
Yeah, Mom. And that's bred by what?
And there's a thing that says, he who opens his ears to slander is guilty of slander.
Of course.
About that.
Of course. Come on, Mom.
I was just saying more, I don't look in the image of a person. I follow the spirit more. And the spirit of understanding comes to me through people. And if it's not the spirit of understanding that I have, then I can't
You are
follow.
unique and
I can't follow.
that you are just unique.
Yeah.
I mean, your thoughts are unique. How you look at it is unique. But even in your uniqueness, there's still things that you can learn.
Ain't nothing.
Islam, sir, when you take, I'm going to use the word gossip to someone, you can also plant a seed about yourself.
Oh, yeah.
With that individual.
You are.
Yeah.
You are. You are. Don't think people don't know who they can talk to and say certain things to. And make an assessment about the person that they're talking to.
That's right.
Don't think that they don't go and say, well, so and so.
No, the gospel.
Come on, man. My sister.
When I read, now you may never point the way, to me, like I said, it could be coming from a military perspective. To be a good leader, you can't tell me how to do something if you've never been through it before.
That's right.
That's right.
I have to, you lead by example.
That's
You have to
right.
be an example for me.
That's right.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. You are to teach that men must wash. So you must lead the way. Your body must be washed. Symbolic of the cleansing of the soul. John said, why need I wait? May I not go at once and wash? Matheno said, 'tis well. And they went down to the Jordan ford and east of Jericho, just where the host of Israel crossed when first they entered Canaan. They tarried for a time. Now, what is the Jordan ford?
It's a river,
It's a river.
The Jordan is a river.
it's a river.
And what is a ford? A ford. Remember, they went down to the Jordan ford, not to the Jordan River. They went to the Jordan ford. That's a little different. It's a little something added there.
It's an area.
It's an area that what? It's shallow enough for you to cross.
Cross, that's right.
So that helps you to understand that's how Israel left from, that's how Israel, the children of Israel crossed from one side to the other.
So the ford is a different part of the Jordan River.
Yeah, that's shallow.
Cross.
Shallow.
Yeah, that was shallow. Yes. And another thing I want to ask you too: who is Elijah? Because they said that John is Elijah come again. Who is Elijah? Why do you think Elijah was mentioned? That's why you think the Jordan ford was mentioned. Why do you think Elijah was mentioned? You are they say you are Elijah. Come again. So obviously, if a wise man is saying something about a person by the name of Elijah, Elijah must have made some type of impression on those people.
That's right.
No,
Not a wise person, not a wise man.
He was a wise man. Elijah was a wise man. That's a good guess. Come on.
Elijah could identify abuse with dust. Blood.
Elijah was a
You
prophet.
did.
He was what?
A prophet.
He was a prophet.
Right.
They say Elijah is the only man that went straight to God.
Okay.
They say he's the only man that ascended straight to God from earth.
That's heavy.
Now he also had, if you read about Elijah, you'll also see a name Elisha. That's very interesting because that was his student. But Elijah left his student something to help him to carry on the work. That's interesting. Come on, Mom.
He left the road.
That's right, he left the road. That's right. And that road enabled him to perform certain acts that was astounding to people who bear witness to it. That helped to remember, that helped to reinforce their faith in God. Because at that time, men believed what they saw. They needed to see something. So you had more people performing certain miraculous acts because that helped people to understand more about God. See, we've grown since then. We don't have to see God to know He exists. But at one time, we were in our developmental stage, and men needed to see their God. Yeah. But as we started to grow and unfold as the bud unfolds to show the flower, we don't need to see God to know that He exists. The only way that you know He exists is by way of your what? Your what? Your practice, no? Your religion enables you to acknowledge the existence of God. How are you going to acknowledge that God exists if you don't practice your religion? That leads to it. That leads you to it. It leads me to it. Okay, it says, Matheno taught the harbinger, and he explained to him the inner meaning of the cleansing rite, and how to wash himself, and how to wash the multitude. Now, we've been discussing the inner meaning. What was the discussion pertaining to? Sometimes you pray like that. Pray. What else? Cleaning up your thoughts. That's what he was talking about. That's what he was talking about. Cleaning up your inside. That's the inner meaning. Do you actually think that we can find our way back home by being led with the appearances or reflexes that appear? Those reflexes not going to lead us back to where we're trying to go. Because where we're trying to go, you can't see with the physical eye. And that only comes when you are in a position to change the way you think. We got to change the way we think. Because our thoughts keep us earthbound. We're trying to cut away the useless and gainly parts so that we can disconnect ourselves with those influences that keep us thinking in a worldly way. And that takes what? Practice. We got to practice. You cannot become a well-skilled professional unless you practice. You can't. We got to practice. Practice enables us to know. And if you don't know, you just simply believe. You think that perhaps that's true. But when you know, you know. And for you to know, you must be what you know. It says, and in the river Jordan, John was washed. Then they returned unto the wilderness. Now, in Gay's Hills, Matheno's work was done. And John went down to Egypt. Oh, thank you. Now, in Gay's Hills, Matheno's work was done. And he and John went down to Egypt. They rested until they reached the temple of Saqqara in the valley of the Nile. You know, they just uncovered Saqqara a few months ago. I saw it on History Channel. They had it in the newspaper too. You know, but they spelled it with a Z, not an S. Yeah, they even showed how it looked. Of course, it didn't look like it looked in those days, but you could see certain things that would let you kind of understand how that type of school would be. You know, they had it had all kind of chambers. It had all kind of what I saw. It had all these different chambers, and it was so far underground. You know, I mean, it was just something. But by the proper teaching us about it, when you saw it, I said, wow, that must be something. But it was interesting. Because see, in the early days, we had sacred schools. We weren't taught what we are taught now. We got to get away from that. But we had sacred schools. And there were those who were chosen to go to those sacred schools. And those individuals who were chosen to go to those sacred schools, you know, I read some places where it says, and if you entered in or you accepted, or you were accepted, and you went in, and while you were being taught certain secrets, if in some way you ended up not being one to accept those secrets, because of those secrets, they would never let you out. Because they would be preserving the secrets. So if you were chosen to go in, you have to understand the significance of coming in. Because if you weren't, if you were because remember, while you were in there, there are also situations that you were put in to test your sincerity.
Sound like they captured souls.
Maybe some was, but they weren't captured because they volunteered.
But I'm saying if they were not accepted
Oh, yeah.
and unable to leave.
That's a good point. Because see, you're given something,
Mhm.
and then you come out and betray that.
Yeah.
No, we might as well stay in here. But I can't let you go out there telling them that. That's misusing. But that's just something to think about. You know, y'all will see it. You'll run across it. You'll read it for yourself. Anyway, it says, for many years, Mathena was a master in this temple of the brotherhood. And when he took, that tells you something about Mathena, what was he? He was a master. And what can masters do? Trace themselves. And thus they what? No. So he was a person in the know. It says, and when he told about the life of John and of his mission to the sons of men, the Hierophant with joy received the harbinger, and he was called the brother Nazareth. What is a Hierophant? What?
High priest.
A high priest. Yeah, he's the one he is over those who are masters. The Hierophant is the master of that particular order. Especially in the temple of Sakara. He was the head of the temple of Sakara. It says, for 18 years, John lived and wrought within these temple gates. 18 years. So he went in at 12. He came out at 30. Because he dwelled in there for 18 years. It took him 30 years to be educated, to be able to come out and do his job. 30 years he spent being taught how to be a what? Yeah.
And that fact about them 30 years, he wasn't just learning the lessons, he had to learn how to conquer self.
Yes.
Because that's not no overnight thing.
Oh, no.
You know, it might take several lifetimes to conquer self.
Yes. And then came out, did what he was requested to do, and still lost his head.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be prepared to serve. You just don't wake up in the morning and say, I'm serving. You must be prepared to serve. You must go through something. You must go through trials and tribulations. You got to deal with something. You got to learn how to deal with stuff. And you may not even, I'm sure. And then you have to be willing to sacrifice. Whatever your sacrifice is. This was John's sacrifice. Doesn't mean that you got to lose your head. Because you have your own unique sacrifice that you must experience. Everybody has their own. It says, for 18 years, John lived and wrought within these temple gates. And here he conquered self, became a mastermind, and learned the duties of the harbinger. Peace.
Peace.
This is our more. I'd like to thank our grand speaker moderator, Brother Man Spring, for our general debate coming forth. instructed us in this chapter. It's very thought provoking, and I sure hope that we learn a little something in here that'll help us to help ourselves and to help others. So at this time, is the grand governor down there? At this time, I call for the assistant grand chief of Temple 71, Brother D. Smith Bay, to read our divine warning. And while the warning is being read, please give it your undivided attention and cease all movement.
Islam, Lord.
Islam.
Lord, thank you, praise Allah. That to be divine morning. Friday, January 15th, 1929. Prophet warned all Muslims, governors, ordered to read proclamation at each meeting. I hereby inform all members they must end all radical agitating speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the street. We offer peace and not destruction. Stop flashing the cards of your opinions and cause confusion. Remember, your cause for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We offer love, truth, peace, and freedom. And when these principles are violated, justice then must take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant or the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law that has laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn their cards, but cease wearing the turban phase and return to the state where the prophet founded them. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet, Noble Ali. If the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out divine plea to all Moors Americans that they do their part in protecting the prophet in the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem the people from their sins. By order of the prophet, Noble Ali. Peace.
Islam, more.
Islam.
I'd like to thank our assistant grand chief here at Temple 71, Brother D. Smith Bay, for reading our divine warning. That ends that portion of our Sunday school. We'll now go into the business portion.
Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen.